you were kind enough to share some stuff with me and let me run it through the JuryEdge to try to give you some information, or at least some of the output that we had started to create. How were you able to use any of that at all and
Hmm.
to help you out?
So the JuryEdge suggestions about how we reframe what we called the brain disease, because it's dementia, it's CTE, it's neurodegenerative disease. In the 60s, they called it chronic brain syndrome. I mean, it's had all these names, and there's this big argument about when CTE was first discovered in 86 from Benenamalu, or in the 30s from a guy named Critchley. And anyway, it's a mess. And the JuryEdge software is what recommended we call it, that we refer to it as have your brain destroyed. And that's what we landed on was football destroys your brain. College football destroys kids' brains. And we just kept calling it his destroyed brain, over and over and over again, because that's what it is. That was one of the things. Um, Weaving, because we couldn't talk about money or athlete exploitation in the trial. But one of the things we were able to use was a 1929 Carnegie report, where they talked about how every new campus, or every new building on campus, was being paid for by football, and that they were making all this money off of these kids. I mean, so we were able, part of it was being able to talk about that as the why. What's the motive, right? And so it's duty, or trust, betrayal, breach, motive. And so these kids trusted the NCAA and these families that they were going to take care of them, because that's what they say publicly. They betrayed that trust by not telling them about the dangers of the sport they played. Then they got brain disease, and the why is money. And that's one of the things the JuryEdge pointed out was the money, without talking about dollars and figures. So we weren't allowed to talk about budgets and how much money they were spending on this, that, or the other. But we were allowed to talk about their own documents saying we're making a bunch of money, and that the kids are, I mean, these are their documents, and that it's being done on the back of football players. And so the jury made the leap. We weren't allowed to say they were exploited, but I think the jury makes the leap when it's, you got a bunch of players, you've got a brain disease issue that you know that they're getting, you don't tell them for any reason. Why is that? Oh, well, 1929, we told you. We told you why we didn't tell anybody. We would lose our free labor pool. And so we can't say that to the jury, but I think they got it. But that's one of the things that came out of um, the documents that we sent, that we had been trying to figure out how do we present that while being true to the court's limiting instructions. And that's how
Right.
we did it.
I know you were talking about earlier, you were talking about defense. And, there was a time when I tried cases, and I do mostly medical malpractice. I do medical malpractice and trucking and serial sex abuse. But there was a time when I would get something. We used to rue the day that somebody would have a complication of a procedure, because it would be like, oh shit, we know informed consent's on the plate. It's coming. Our client signed for it, said they were aware of it. And we always handled it the way we handled it. But with AI and the way that it takes defenses, it would take that and in 30 seconds point out, well, this is actually your strength. The doctor's the one that made him sign it, meaning the doctor knew about it, had more knowledge about it, knew that he could kill the person. He had superior knowledge. He should have made sure that he was extra careful, because he knew what could happen. And so the things that I always used to worry about when I see a defense lawyer now, and when I start thinking and I start worrying, oh God, what if that document gets in front of the jury? I now accept that document's coming in front of the jury. How do I flip it and introduce it in my opening as a strength of my case? Because every time I can take it and make it a strength of my case, I undercut them completely. And it
Mhm.
basically reframes everything that they're going to use as a defense, actually becomes offensive for me. When you say you keep it offensive, you're on your offense all day, every day, from beginning to end. And I'm telling you, the AI gives us the ability to do those types of things.